We've just had a brilliant day of exploring Shakespeare, wrestling, BSL and creative audio description as a way of mashing up all those different things with wrestlers, actors, theatre makers, academics, students. It's been a really amazing and inspiring day when we've all pulled together to really bring together our areas of expertise to engage audiences with Shakespeare and wrestling in exciting, accessible new ways.
Absolutely love today. The ability to get to do what we do in wrestling and to mix that with something as, let's call it academic as Shakespeare. It's absolutely wild to see, historic texts being changed into a completely different language with professional wrestling. It's madness, but it's great. Everything comes down to storytelling at the end of the day. And that's why I love wrestling. And today, that's why I love Shakespeare too.
So much fun. I learned more about Shakespeare, more about martial arts, and I finally got to have the two together, which I've always wanted to do. I saw a play I've been working on for the last 10 years in new lights and new physical languages, including BSL and the language of performance wrestling, and I'm leaving full of energy and buzzing to do more of this.
I found today really interesting. I think the way I wrestle myself is very artistic, and I try and put a lot of emotion and feeling into it, and I think sometimes you can get caught up in the world of wrestling and that aspect, and you kind of forget like the main thing of wrestling is storytelling, is emotion, is feeling, and I think today really opened my eyes even more to it, and hearing people from different aspects of the arts world, hearing what they had to say and their take on things that would be different to my take on things is like a new way that I can, look at wrestling and take that into my journey and my creative process too. So I really loved it. I hope we get to do it again and do more.
Today has been absolutely fascinating. I've really enjoyed it. We've been looking at BSL with Shakespeare for quite a while and how BSL works, the Shakespearean language, both in English and in BSL. But with the wrestling, wow, that's another visual language. So we've got 3 languages working together. And then it's interesting how they then combine, and because it's an additional visual language, so you've got 2 visual languages, the original Shakespearean text, the BSL and the wrestling, and then working with those 3 with the drama and the visuality of the physical nature of the characters. That's been really interesting to explore. So I'm hoping we'll get opportunity to explore it and develop it further in the future.
I absolutely loved today. What amazing kind of experience to see up close the artistry of wrestling, the work that goes in, the craft. I did not expect to get involved so much, but I loved it. I loved feeling the power of the wrestling ring and feeling that on your chest. I loved it, and I never used to watch wrestling that much when I was younger, but I will now, and I'll keep an eye out for all the little tricks, but I loved it. It's a great day.
I've been blown away watching the world of Shakespeare, theatre, actors and wrestling come together today, mapping out Shakespeare in the ring and seeing what happens when we look at 3 different Shakespeare plays. I guess I'm particularly struck at what happens when we have text-led explorations of Shakespeare versus movement-led explorations of a scene, really seeing things start to take off as we step away from the words and towards movement.
Totally awesome day. Just beautiful melding of all those different art forms and just a celebration of how they can all work together and how they all inform each other. And at the end of the day, it's just storytelling, whatever art form you're taking. If you want to take an audience with you, just tell the story clearly, and somehow involving the wrestling just makes it so visceral and makes the language combative as well. And so you absolutely know when your insult or your love bomb lands. It's gorgeous. What a day.
It was really enjoyable today. It made me think back to the saying that wrestling is drag and drag is wrestling, because it's kind of like makes you realise that wrestling fits into so many different categories and it's not just that one thing, but we really delve into the storytelling aspect of wrestling. I think the new saying today that I found is wrestling is Shakespeare and Shakespeare is wrestling.